Lena was a freelance photographer, wandering through cities and villages of West Africa, capturing real faces and raw emotions. She had always believed in fate, but never in love. Her heart had been broken one too many times to believe in something as elusive as soulmates. That was until she met Kofi. Kofi was a local tour guide in the coastal town of Cape Tyre, a man with a radiant smile, sun-kissed skin, and eyes that held stories of generations. He loved poetry, played the flute, and treated strangers like family. They met one afternoon while Lena was photographing an old fisherman repairing his net. Kofi offered her coconut water from a street vendor and asked if she needed help finding good photography spots. What began as a polite conversation quickly turned into hours of wandering the town together. He took her to the hidden corners of the coast, the secret gardens behind abandoned buildings, and even introduced her to his grandmother, who sold handmade soaps at the market. By sunset, Lena had more than just photos. She had a flutter in her chest she hadn't felt in years. Over the next few weeks, Lena extended her stay in Cape Tyre. She told herself it was for the photography, but deep down, she knew better. Kofi became her compass. He showed her the real rhythm of the town, the music, the laughter, the pain, and the pride. They spent evenings on the beach, sharing stories under the stars. Lena told him about her travels, her failed relationships, and her fear of settling. Kofi, in turn, opened up about his father's death, his dream of starting a cultural center for youth, and his struggle to support his younger siblings. One night, after a particularly long walk, Lena leaned her head on Kofi's shoulder. He didn't move. They sat in silence, listening to the waves. That silence said everything. Just when things seemed perfect, Lena received a call from her ex-boyfriend, Theo, a well-known publisher in London who had once offered to fund her first photo book. He was in Accra for a conference and wanted to meet. Kofi, sensing her hesitation, encouraged her to go. "Closure is a good thing," he said with a tight smile. But when Lena met Theo, she realized how easily the past could creep back in. He talked about her talent, their history, and even hinted at reigniting their relationship. Confused and torn, Lena returned to Cape Tyre. Kofi asked no questions, but his distance spoke volumes. Lena felt guilt gnawing at her heart. She tried to explain, but Kofi simply said, "Sometimes love means letting someone go so they can find what they're truly looking for." Their rhythm changed. Lena took more solo trips and Kofi threw himself into community work. They still saw each other, but their conversations felt careful. The intimacy they once shared gave way to polite smiles. It wasn't until Lena photographed a youth dance event organized by Kofi that they really spoke. After the show under the stage lights, Lena approached him. "I miss us," she whispered. Kofi looked at her, exhausted but gentle. "So do I. But you're not staying, Lena. You're always halfway gone." She wanted to deny it, but he was right. The day Lena's visa was due to expire, she packed her bags. Her return ticket to London sat on the table beside her camera. Kofi didn't come to say goodbye. As the taxi pulled away, Lena stared out the window, heart pounding. She thought of all the photos she'd taken, the stories she'd captured, but none compared to the moments with Kofi. At the airport, just before boarding, she opened her notebook. Inside was a pressed flower from the first garden Kofi showed her. She froze, and in that moment she knew. She turned around and ran. Back in Cape Tyre, Lena arrived unannounced at the cultural centre where Kofi was painting a mural with a group of kids. He looked up surprised. "You didn't leave?" "No, I realised. I'm done chasing places. I want to stay. I want to build something with you." For the first time in weeks, Kofi smiled fully. He walked toward her, paint-streaked hands trembling. "I was scared you'd always choose freedom over me." "You are my freedom," she said. They embraced, the children clapping in the background. Beneath the same sky months later, Lena and Kofi co-founded the Cape Tyre Cultural Collective, a space for youth art, storytelling, and photography. Lena documented their journey, while Kofi led workshops and wrote poetry that the children turned into songs. They lived in a modest house by the shore, where every evening they watched the sun dip into the sea. They weren't perfect. They still argued, still had doubts, but they had chosen each other, and every time they looked up at the sky, they remembered the day they met under its vastness, and how no matter where they came from, they were now walking forward, side by side, under the same sky, together.